Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hardcore Heroes. How are you doing, Sean?
Pretty good. Been reading a lot of the Wheel of Time lately.
Really? We missed our Wheel of Time catch up last Sunday.
Greg
Tell us
said he
about
tried, but he got shot down.
it.
We'll just domineer the conversation next time and get that in. I finished book 11. I'm already like a third of the way through 12, so I've been really burning through it recently. It's good fun. I've been enjoying that. Went to California to visit some relatives. Had a good time with that. I've been playing a game called Battle for Wesnoth, which is like this squad-based tactical RPG that's free and open source. I've been having a lot of fun with that. I don't know. I'm just being a neat while I still can.
A neat?
Yeah.
Cool. Are you ready for some demon invasions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. How is this broken? This is broken again. It's no longer broken. So, where last we left our heroes, you were in Stromheim, the capital of the former Kingdom of Eridon. And you had just made yourself some dragon armor, which you'd given one set to one of your henchmen. And you had gotten not so much like a quest, but you had talked with the queen about investigating Heatstroke. They had given you some tools, including a legend lore scroll. And anything else I should remember?
I gifted the dragon armor to Belle. No, I don't think so. I remember. I think the only other big thing was the legend lore scroll. Which, excellent. Yeah, that one's pretty big. So that wizard's at least 12th level, because he has 6th level spells.
He's pretty bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keeps a low profile. That's how he stays alive. Doesn't get involved in
how
PC's.
You gotta do it.
Yeah. Stays out of most of PC's activities, unless he really has to get involved like this time. He's never been in more danger in his whole life before now.
Yeah, but he's 12th level. He probably has something that he can just, I'll teleport.
Yeah. Finger snap, teleport, sort of thing. Okay. So, shall we, anything you want to do in Stromheim before you set off?
Yeah, I'm just setting up my spells really fast for the actual thing itself. But we can go and get going, and then I'll just do it on the way.
Let's make sure that there's nothing that you want in town. You got all the components you need?
We've got a box full of iron rations.
Is that Chester?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got the dragon armor going. We have the spare dragon armor in the chest, holding the rations in case Lucilla or I need to put on armor quickly in the night.
Okay.
I think that's aside from food and stuff to take. Oh, we should probably get rope and things like that just in case we need it.
Okay.
Nobody thinks they need it until they do. All right, so let's get how much does that weigh?
Let's see. Weighty chest lasts 1 day per level. You're 9th level, so you're gonna have to cast it again
every
8th
8
level.
days.
Yeah. So you'll have to cast it again before you leave. So that'll be one spell slot down. On that, I think you're Gucci, as the kids say.
Yeah, and I'm only down that one spell slot once a week.
Which is not too bad.
Or wait, no, that's Frisky Chest. I think Frisky Chest lasts longer.
Whoops, I'm looking at Weighty Chest.
No,
Frisky
I do Weighty Chest. I do Weighty Chest once a week on my armor, though, to make sure that other people don't.
Pick you up and throw you?
Yeah. After that one giant made a Hail Mary out of Van Helsing, he had a good idea. Yeah, Frisky Chest is permanent.
Perfect. All right, don't even have to worry.
You can make a huge box.
I know, 10-foot cube per level is...
Could you imagine? I could probably do it to a sub-mansion at this point.
Well, I think it's not a 10-foot on a side cube, so it's not an 80 by 80 by 80. It's a 10 or 8 10 by 10s. Right? Or is it...
I assumed it was. I guess that makes more sense. I assumed the volume just increased by dramatic proportions, but I could see 10-foot 10s. Otherwise, I'd be Frisky Chesting a large house, and you just have the most terrifying sight. Yeah. It's
how
stomping
Baba
across
Yaga gets her hut to move.
the level 1 spell. Oh man, that'd be terrifying.
Yeah.
Could you imagine seeing that just run across the landscape? Uprooting trees as it goes.
Sounds pretty great. So, you've got your gear, you've got your spells, you've got your henchmen, you've got a lot of salt and pepper and paprika on your desk for some reason. More than anyone really needs.
Take my advice of everything's better if you just add spices.
It's true. All right, let's do it. Let us set out.
So we need rope. Silk rope is how much? It's 20 pounds or something per.
Silk rope.
Or no. Oh god, I have to pull up the book.
I got it. Rope. Silk. 5 gold. No, I'm sorry. 20 gold for 5 pounds for 50 feet.
Oh, that's nothing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Rope. 5 pounds, and let's do 10 pounds and make it 100 feet, so I can go up to 70, right? Yeah. And then how much is a grappling hook?
A grappling hook. ABC grappling hook. 800 copper and weighs 4 pounds.
4 pounds. Grappling hook. It's 4 pounds. This is the one that does all your total weights for you. So convenient. System. Okay. What else could be useful? So we have food, we have rope, we have grappling hook. Presumably the rations come with water.
I think the dry rations are just food, but if you've got water skins, you can
What are the water sources around Heatstroke? Yeah.
So Heatstroke is guarded by a big ass desert, and there's no water sources in the desert other than the river that cuts through it.
Okay, we might need to get a second chest. Or no, we have a carriage that we're taking with us, don't we?
I don't think so. Oh, there was a carriage that was going to take you to. No, Plainsview's destroyed.
Didn't they offer us like horses and a carriage or something?
I think they offered you horses, no carriage.
Okay.
Right? Because if they did offer you a carriage, I'm second guessing why they would, because then they would just like leave you there and drive back. You know, a carriage is also a pretty vulnerable thing. It takes a long time to turn it around.
I assumed it was like, oh no, they did not give us a carriage.
I think it's just the horses.
So what we could do then, I don't suppose they have camels. Those are supposedly better for crossing deserts.
No. But the desert's not so big that you need a camel, right? It's 20 miles across.
Okay. We're gonna need to bring water with us though. The average person needs what, like a pound of water? I guess we're traveling probably like 2 pounds of water a day.
Minimum, yeah.
Okay. So for 4 people, we need 8 pounds of water a day. How heavy is a water barrel? Let's assume it can hold like 20 gallon. Or no, that's way too. How much would a barrel hold? Like 80 gallons?
Barrels hold 40 gallons. The barrel weighs 70 pounds without water. Water is 8.5. Yeah, 40 gallons. 8.5 times 40 plus 250. A full barrel of water weighs 590 pounds.
Okay, I can frisky chest that, I think. Let's take a quick look.
Do you want something a little bit more secure instead of having your extremely heavy water barrel jumping around? Like, that seems like it might crack or break or, you know, be potentially life-threatening.
I guess they just don't make them like they used to. Yeah, what would be a good... 590 pounds is pretty heavy, but I guess if we just have the horses carrying water and not people, but then horses need to drink more themselves.
Yeah, crossing deserts is a difficult thing. Let's see. You know that the Heatstroke Desert's about 20 miles.
Hold on, I can create food and water. Let me see how that works exactly. Because that might just make everything a lot easier. Chi spells. I don't know why I closed this tab. Create water. Create water. Up to 4 gallons of water are generated for every experience level of the caster, so I can just make tons of water.
Tons of water.
Yeah, I can make like 32 gallons of water per go, which should be plenty.
So
Clean and drinkable.
Something to hold it in so people can drink out of it. Like, you need like a trough or an empty chest that you can just create the water in so the horses can drink out of it.
Yeah. Also, you could probably just get that empty water barrel.
Yeah.
Right? Because without any weight in it, frisky chesting it probably wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, it's only going to be 70 pounds. So you could probably frisky chest it. And if it's only 70 pounds, it's probably not going to break when it hops around.
Yeah. Spell evaporate the reverse. Spell destroy water, obliterates water without a trace. Yeah, so I can just create water, no problem.
Great.
Water weighs about 8 pounds per gallon, and a cubic foot of water weighs approximately 64 pounds. Okay. Oh, but okay, so I'll take a few water skins with me because I need a drop of water to cast the spell.
Right. Okay. Perfect. So you grab a barrel, an empty barrel, and a couple of water skins.
Mm-hmm.
You have a chest full of food.
Yes.
The guards will give you all of your gear when you leave the gate.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have someone bring it from the south gate to the north gate, and then I think it's time to set off through the Golden Sea on your way to Plainsview. I guess not Plainsview, but beyond. It's just in the direction.
Yeah. All right, let me pull up the map here. Oh, wait, do you have an Immortal 20 game? I have too many tabs. There we go. Yeah, okay, so we're heading out to Plainsview.
Golden Sea is what we're looking for.
Yeah, and then this area is
Alright.
pretty hot as well, isn't it? Like the
It
Ashlands.
is. Yeah, it's comparable to other savannas, like the African
so
savanna
it's-
or the American Great Plains. Like, it can
Okay.
get really hot in the summer, but the rest of the year it's pretty fine. I think right now we are in February, March, April, or May.
Oh, before we head out, I get us some specific like traveling clothes for the desert.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
Yeah. Well, because there aren't like thick black robes or something used by most.
Thin black robes?
I always thought they were thicker. Huh. I was always confused too why it's not white, but that's probably just because I'm stupid.
I don't know for certain, but I have heard
right.
that it's like you want it to be absorbing on the inside, and so you want the inside dark, and so it's better to have like how do you say it? White robes would help reflect heat off the top, but you want it to absorb from the inside to radiate out, or something like that. Why is it black? Because it has to do with spectrum absorption, I think.
Yeah. It's probably like, I don't know. You have to get your white desert robes like in RuneScape. See, RuneScape ruined me. RuneScape made me think that all desert robes were white. Let me white or black robes for desert.
The amount of heat gained by exposed to the hot desert is the same whether he wears black or white robes. And the additional heat absorbed by the black robe was lost before it reached the skin. Black is as cool as any other color. Oh, I guess the color doesn't really matter? People just prefer black?
Oh, okay. Either way, I'll get us robes specifically meant for like the desert. Because I don't want people getting beaten down directly by the sun.
I think ideally you might want white on the outside, black on the inside. I don't know how you do that without double layering. Anyway, let us continue. The party is ready to move out.
Yeah.
It will take you, it's 103 miles to the desert, You guys have horses. So your movement rate is 18 on your horses. And so let's do 24 times 1.5. But then this is not a nice flat road. This is sort of like open grassland, so your movement rate is going to be a little bit slower. So you're going to be moving about like 28 to 30 miles a day. So it's going to take you about 4 days to get there.
And I'll unfailing endurance us to make that trip a little bit easier.
Ah, okay.
So I can do it on 8 people.
All right, let me just open up my encounter tables, and we can kill the town music. As you guys set out on your horses, how do you maneuver Chester while you're on horseback?
That is a good question. I think we probably just have the horses going in sort of like a diamond, but with an open top formation.
Okay, so like an
upside down triangle.
Yeah, a reverse flying V.
A half diamond, also known as a triangle.
So it's like a game of polo or something.
Yeah, a little bit like that.
Yeah.
And now there's 2, so it's even more of a pain in the ass. But you know, you got to do these things if you don't want to travel heavy, but also don't want to starve in the desert.
All right. Your first 2 days are uneventful. Let's bring you about 70 some miles over here, 60 some miles over here. On the 3rd day of your travel, you get about halfway through the course of your day when I need you to make me a perception check. And I will have your NPCs make them as well. Frank, Bell, and Lucia.
15. I didn't have perception for the longest time.
Okay. So Belle will call out to you that she sees something ahead of you guys. And sure enough, as she points it out and you guys pause and wait, there appears to be something skittering along the ground.
Okay. Does this look like the spirits that we used to get possessed by, or are these more like physical, corporeal creatures?
This is you have to maybe get a little bit closer, but as
okay. I mean, does it look corporeal or intangible at least?
It looks physical.
Okay.
As you get a little bit closer, you notice these rather large scorpions. They're, I don't know, 2 or 3 feet long, tawny all over the back, with big nasty stingers on them. And there's a small cluster of these guys. There's 4 of them, and they seem to be moving in like almost a line, like one following the other. They're 250 feet out or so.
Okay. Are they moving directly toward us?
Not directly. Like, if that thingy on the map is your token, is your location, they're sort of doing maybe your direction, but not necessarily bound right for you.
Okay. I don't really have enough anti-poison control to help the whole party here, so I'm going to have us, like, kind of just move down a little bit. Let me get the ruler so I don't actually move the marker. Like, just kind of, not in a matter of miles, but, like, move down a little bit out of their path, and then just kind of, like, wait and see where they go.
Yeah.
And make sure they pass us by.
Yeah, they don't seem too keen on you guys. They look like they've got somewhere they want to go, and they just keep heading in that direction. It's not a big deal to avoid them. And by the end of the day, you will arrive at the desert known as Hourglass. Now, this is a big sandy rolling desert. The sand dunes can be quite difficult to climb up and down, and they do run in sort of like this direction. So if you want to move along the tops of the dunes or along the base of the dunes, it's, you know, you can move north and south, but to go east and west, you got to go up and down and up and down and up and down. Mm-hmm. The reason it's called Hourglass is because there is a brass or a bronze dragon that lives in here who will use his heat breath to like solidify the sand into like a glassy surface that he can then like rest in and have the sun reflect back onto him doubly. And then he's a dragon, so he marches around and breaks all the glass, and so it's like a sandy desert with like shards of glass in it from dragons making glass and then breaking it.
Is this the brass dragon who trapped Malachi?
No, it's one on the other side of the world.
Ah.
Yeah. Mostly his domain is in the north. But every now and then he goes to the south and creates a nice little glassy area to rest in, and then breaks it when he leaves. So
brass dragons are relatively good creatures, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Might be worth paying him a visit at some point. I figured he might have some useful information about this growing infestation out of heat stroke.
Most definitely. You would also know that there is a mist dragon that lives over here. Oops, it's off screen. Over in this region.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think that those one, I don't know. I like the general knowledge of like metallic good, chromatic bad. All the other ones are weirdos.
Yeah.
I don't remember how mist dragons work exactly. I'd rather not risk one just being like, I could just eat you.
Mm-hmm. Most people tend to leave it alone, and ships coming in and out near Hillsborough hug the coastline to avoid the dragon and then go into the deep sea just to leave this island, which is sort of what people regard as its domain, but it probably actually lives in the water in this bay somewhere.
Right.
They generally leave that area alone.
Okay. So what I'm going to suggest when we get there then is before we head to Heatstroke, where'd the line that we drew last week go? Didn't we have like a line around it to show where the flesh had grown out of?
Ooh, I don't think so.
Because we talked about it, and they were like, yes, the flesh is like growing out of Heatstroke when we were talking to like the queen and her advisors.
Maybe. If there was a line, I think it was approximate. I'm not sure if anyone knows where it is right now, but it sort of has been radiating from Heatstroke.
Yeah. So what I'm going to suggest then is that we travel south a ways, because we want to go in south of where the growth is going to be. Because if we need to make a quick exit, then we can head to the hills toward Hillsborough. Mm-hmm. Since it's easier to travel along the desert if you're not dealing with the dunes.
Right. So why don't you doodle me how you want to do that?
A little bit south. Is it shift or what do I
right
hit?
click?
Right click. Okay. It's probably south a little bit, and then down like this, and then over the dunes. And once we're past the dunes, then we can head up toward the flesh and heat stroke.
Okay, so the dunes will run all the way to the coast, basically. Maybe the last
so a little bit closer to the coast then, and then we'll head up toward heat stroke.
Perfect. All right, you guys head out this way. As you leave the plains, it sort of goes from being grasslands to sort of just dry, cracked earth, and then little bits of sand, and you can see in the distance these rolling dunes. Mm-hmm. And as you close the miles, it just becomes this endless morass of sand. Your horses have these nice, they're not as big as a camel's foot, but they're still pretty good for stepping on the sand and moving around.
Mm-hmm.
And you make your way in. Let me make some encounter checks over here.
Wrote down a spell, and I don't even actually know if it exists in second edition. Yes, it does. Okay.
All right. You start to cut on in when, as you climb one of these dunes, you can look down on the other side and see this pinky, fleshy stuff reaching for you. Not like reaching for you in particular, but it's sort of like the sand has been turned to flesh, and it has extended out at least this far.
Oh, wow. It's gone pretty far.
Maybe it's more like that.
So this is as we're going over the... Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to follow along it in a line. So I explain to them as we're going, I have suspicions that this mass is alive. In fact, I'm going to go and cast Detect Evil really fast.
Did you have it memorized for the day?
Yeah, that was the spell that I didn't know actually existed in AD&D or not.
Ah, of course. Yes. The ground itself radiates intense evil.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I warn them that this is some sort of living creature or concept, at least, and that it is very, very thoroughly evil. Have I told Frank about the legend lore scroll yet? Or was that something that just kind of came up while we were in Stromheim?
It's up to you whether you've told him or not.
Okay.
I don't think it's been said.
I'll go and fill him in now and say, Frank, I have an opportunity for you. It's a bit of a dangerous one, but I do have some magic on reserve to help you in case things go bad. I have a rather rare spell, and I'll hold out the scroll to him, that you could use to identify what this thing is.
He looks at you. Shall we? Is now the appropriate time?
No. We need to head over these dunes first. We need to go to the south. I didn't realize the growth had extended so far.
Shall we get a sample? He says, looking eagerly at the fleshy bit.
Once we do our work there, I'll cut some out before we leave. I don't want to alert anything to our presence before we absolutely have to. Once we cut anything out of this, we need to be ready to run for the hills.
He nods a few times to you.
Note that the spell I'm offering you might have heard the name. It's legend lore. You'll have to come into direct contact with this mass. You'll have to touch it with your hand.
He gets a little bit of a smile at this and goes, that's what I was hoping. I'm here to uncover the secrets of the world. I would be more than happy to volunteer to take a sample.
All right. Well, once we've found the spot, I have some protective magics I'm going to put on you in case this growth is afflictive.
He nods in appreciation. And you guys can continue to move around the edge.
Mm-hmm.
You head on down. Let me get a slightly better doodle here so I know where the edge is. Okay, and then we go to this layer. So you can see that it looks like that thus far.
Too many tabs. Okay, there we go.
Mm-hmm. And you can keep moving along the edge of the desert and see that it does continue to extend like that as you pass alongside of it. Can I get a perception check from Van over the course of the day while traveling in the heat? No.
It doesn't work out.
It's oppressive heat. The sand itself with all the glass is like reflecting light into your eyes. It's hard to really see anything out there, especially with the dunes dipping up and down and the heat waves coming off of it. You keep thinking you see movement, and then you'll stop for a little while, and it's just the
Any checks for the henchmen?
I made checks in secret for them.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think you'll end your first day, or as you get towards the end of your first day in the desert, what would you like to do?
When we set up camp, I'm going to spread salt in a line around it, hoping that will ward off any incorporeals that want to come in. I don't actually know if that works or not, but worth a shot.
How much salt do you have?
A few pounds. I think I have like 4 pounds of salt.
Okay, so like a circle around you guys?
Yeah, just like spreading salt out in a circle. And hopefully I can recover most of it tomorrow. Okay. Might be a little bit sandy, but should be mostly salt.
Alright. And you set watches that night?
Yeah, it's 3 pounds of salt, not 4.
Okay.
And yeah, let's do probably the regular thing of like Frank and I bookending the watch. I guess I'll do first. And then the fighters with the middle watches.
Okay. Can I get a perception check for you for the first watch?
There we go. That's better.
Beautiful. So that night, you're staring up at the sky, waiting, watching the horizon. when you see something sort of blotting out one of the stars out there. The image of Madrigal, goddess of hope, is sort of low on the sky, to the north near the end of your shift. And one of the stars, her bottommost star, for a moment there, like, disappears from view.
How tall, like, considering the ground and the distance, how tall would something have to be to blot out the star?
Depends on how close it is to you, right?
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, is there, because the ground is not even here, though, right? So there's only specific places that it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, like, some sort of, I guess I probably can't get it down to, like, within a matter of a few feet, but I could probably get an idea of, like, it's probably, like, 8 feet tall, or it's probably, like, 50 feet tall.
Right, so it looks like something would have to be somewhere between, like, 10 and 20 feet tall. Or at least 10 or 20 feet off the ground to be blocking out this little star.
Okay. We've been unfailing endurance. We're in the middle of a desert. Dusk is usually worse than night. Should we just move? Okay, I'm gonna wait and keep watch around this area. And then I think this is gonna be our last night in Heatstroke. I think we're just gonna force march it after this.
Okay. Just making a note for future reference on some stuff. I don't want to do it like that and like that. Perfect. Okay, so you just spend the rest of the night here?
Yeah, I think so. I'll let somebody know and point them in the general direction of seeing some movement so that they know what to keep a lookout for.
Okay. In the early morning, on Frank's shift, maybe how should I say? Maybe a couple hours before the sun comes up, he notes that hold on. Damn it. I have two conflicting ideas about how the world works, and I'm not sure which one I should be going with, and it definitely impacts this very minor event that we're dealing with right now. I'm not sure how to adjudicate this. At some point in times, I've said that the stars move across the sky like they would normally on Earth, and at other times I've said that the stars remain like fixed, and at one night, like the stars are in one solid position and they don't move over the course of the night, which is whether like the planet spins or whether like it slowly rotates facing different parts of the sky during different
times a year.
Right, yeah. So I've gone back and forth on this, and I don't know which one to do. I think we're gonna go with at night you'll have one vision of the sky pretty much all night long, because the planet slowly faces different portions of the sky. Okay. So like a star will hold its place in the sky all night long.
Is the world flat?
Probably.
Well, that's mostly for knowing, like, would the stars be roughly the same perspective around the globe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think the world is a mostly flat plane. It might have some curvature to it, something like that. I don't know. It might be saddle shaped. You know, the whole universe is fucking weird. We'll
Jackie's already telling you to PM him.
I will PM nobody. I don't know what he wants.
You've made a huge decision here, Neal.
I know. I know. Okay, so with the concept that the stars in the sky don't move over the course of the night, it's near sunrise when Frank tells you that or shakes you awake and points to the lower star of Madrigal and says, "Look, it's visible again," and rakes you that way.
I get up. I haven't cast any spells today, so I guess I don't really need to finish sleeping, especially not with an unfailing endurance. Sorry, what did he say again?
That the bottom star of Madrigal is visible again.
Oh, so it was
something has
missing
moved.
consistently.
It was missing all night long, and then near the sunrise.
I thought it was like I saw it briefly vanish from something.
No. It was gone. And then near sunrise, it appears again.
You didn't see any movement? So I saw like the sky around it then, right? I saw like the... Okay, so it was like the star vanished out of the sky.
Because it's a constellation with like 20 stars in it.
Okay, I thought it was like a physical thing that was just standing in my eye shot, but if I saw the sky around it, then a star just kind of vanished from the sky temporarily.
Yeah. I will put in chat the constellations, so you can see what I'm talking about. She's the lower right constellation. I put it in Twitch chat.
The last time stars began disappearing from the sky, Malchus came down to this world in the flesh. I need some time to reflect on this. You should finish your watch. I don't want to wake the others up yet.
He finishes his watch. It's only a few more hours until the sun comes up.
Yeah. During that time, I'm gonna attempt to commune with Cheese.
Alrighty.
I know there's a spell for it.
She is also visible in the sky at this moment, if that matters to you.
She's visible?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to commune here. Not the spell commune, but just kind of the sort of, casual phone call that I occasionally do. And I'm going to ask... I'm going to see if I can get into contact first.
Yeah, you can feel her presence. It's not so much like a howdy neighbor as just like an inner warmth when you close your eyes and focus.
I say, do you know of the disappearing stars in the sky? The last this happened, Malchus touched the world directly and much chaos ensued. It wasn't a full constellation this time, but a star vanished for a number of hours, just gone.
My brothers and sisters are all around me.
Which god was it again?
Madrigal, goddess of hope.
Madrigal as well?
Yes.
Thank you. I will bother you no more, but I'll keep an eye on it myself. Okay. Once everybody wakes up, I'm gonna tell them we're not spending another night in Heatstroke. We're gonna finish what we're about today, and then we're gonna just break and force march for the hills and try to get to Hillsborough.
Okay.
And then we'll take a long route around to get to Hourglass and talk to the dragon, because I don't want to say anything. Grab.
All right. So where are you going? What's your movement like?
We're going to continue going along the edge here once we break camp and just move this, get past the dunes. And then once we're past the dunes, we'll head up to the edge of the growth. I'll cast my protection spell on Frank. He'll do his thing.
Sure.
And then we're just going to break south and go right into these hills along the coast and try and make it to Hillsborough.
Excellent. You follow the edge of the flesh all the way around until it hits until you reach the cliffs. There's some growth here. There's some green on this coastal desert. It looks like there's maybe like morning fog or mist or some rains that come in because you've got like fairly nice green grasses and gentle forests that cover the sides. And the flesh comes right up to a cliff and then like fleshly grows down the cliff and onto the ground below, but not quite to the water's edge. It appears that the flesh stops at the high water mark.
Okay.
And it's on this cliff that I want you to make me a perception check.
25.
Okay, good. You and Belle will both notice that there is an eyeball on the cliff. Maybe about, I don't know, the size of this coffee cup.
Okay.
Just on the cliff, in the flesh, looking back and forth out over the ocean.
So we're going to retreat inwards a little bit so that the eye is out of view. And then I'll tell Frank that he should get about it because this looks horrifying and I don't want to be here any longer than we absolutely have to be. I'm going to cast Protection from Evil on him. Once he's ready to do Legend Lore. Oh, 1 second.
Let's just look up the Legend Lore spell. And then casting spells from a higher level. Where's our list of scrolls?
Sorry about that.
No worries. Gotta look up this stuff anyway.
All right.
Rods, rings, spells. Oh, right. So when you use a spell that is created by a higher level wizard, is there a chance of...
I don't think so, because you use it as though you are that level as the cat. It's described as like the spell is pre-casted into the page.
Right.
And you're just releasing it.
It'll be cast at the level of the creator. But if a spell user acquires a spell inscribed with a scroll inscribed with a spell of a level too high for him to cast, he can still try to cast it, but there's a chance of failure at 5% per level difference between the caster's present level and the level at which the spell could be used.
Oh wow,
so
that's actually pretty big.
First level mage who finds a wish scroll has an 85% chance of failure.
Ooh, this is pretty brutal actually. So
he might not be the one to cast it.
So that'd be a 45% chance of failure.
Because for Legend Lore you need to be 11th level, is it?
12th.
12th? Okay.
So he's 9 levels behind.
Yeah. So you are only 4 levels behind. You would only have a 20% chance of failure.
Oh, I can cast Wizard Scrolls? Let's go for it then.
Hell yeah. Good point. I failed to think about that.
I don't know, actually. I only know how it works in Hackmaster. Let me look in here. Scroll. We'll just have to accept the failure chance if I can't do it myself. Isn't the DMG?
Yeah, I'm looking at DMG page 196. Who can use these? The ability to use a scroll does not permit a wizard to use a priest to use a wizard spell, or wizard to use a priest spell. Okay. So you can have Frank do it at an 85% chance of failure?
No, 45.
No, 45% chance of failure. Or you could find somebody else to cast it for you. I guess our options
not really
here.
Gonna... unless I suddenly learn summon high level wizard, I don't really know who else.
All right.
So I think we have to trust Frank on this one. I'll roll his D100. So we want 55 or lower.
You want 55 or lower.
That's a pass. He does it. So I cast Protection from Evil on him as he starts it.
Okay.
I also have. Let me make sure this is actually a 3rd level spell because I burned a 3rd level spell slot for it. Yes, it is 3rd level. Okay.
Okay, so it is going to take 1d4 turns because you have the person, place, or thing in hand.
Touching it, yeah, he's directly touching it. I've also given him a jar and a dagger for when he's done to just kind of cut up a little bit of the flesh and stuff it into the jar. Because I don't want 2 people touching it since I'm already kind of like keeping an eye on him.
Containment is a good idea.
Yeah. Two turns, so 20 minutes to get this done.
Perfect. Why don't we take a break, and when we come back, we will learn what Legend Lore does. And this might be a slightly longer break, maybe 10 minutes or so. So we'll see you guys on the other side. Bye-bye.